Wow, that was quite cool.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Look at it now.
Yeah.
So,
Like it's continuously changing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really quickly, the flavours starting to.
So, I'll get us set up.
Wow.
I will put do you use fresh water? I mean fresh water. Do you use filtered water?
No.
You've got to start using filtered water. That's the game changer for your coffees.
Okay.
As soon as we generally have really harsh water coming out, so when it's filtered, much softer water brings out better flavour in the coffee.
100%. So I've got one of these.
Yeah.
I'll start chucking it in. So I'm in a tea household. And not just any tea, it's Earl Grey. So the wife, I would say 80% of the reason we've been together 30 years is that I'm pretty consistent with the morning teas.
Right.
And so...
get her out of bed with the morning tea. You're a good man.
She pretty much wakes up every day with a Earl Grey. And then we've ended up with two boys who basically comfort or the definition of home, and that sort of wrapped up is tea. So they were having Earl Grey teas in sippy cups, and so there's a real association between home and mother and everything else associated with Earl Grey. So. And I'm the only one who knows how to make Earl Grey teas supposedly in the house, which I still think I'm trying to encourage them. They're 15 and 13 now. I'm thinking you got to start making your own teas. It's like, it's not like yours, Dad. So I'm like, I know this is not going to last forever, and I've only got a finite number of teas I'll be able to make for them in the future. Eventually, they'll make their own tea. So I still, anytime anybody asks for a tea, and so invariably, as we're trying to encourage them to go to bed, it's just like, but can I have a tea? So there's always a half hour where TV's off, phones are off, but they are allowed to sit up and have the tea. And that's been
Tea's got caffeine, right?
Does it though?
Yeah.
I know. But I actually had an interesting conversation with my psychiatrist. We were talking about being present and how hard it is sometimes. And we were talking about meditation. He was like, the monks, right?
Yeah.
And they're sitting there with their green tea.
They're
getting a little hit. Yeah. And then they're meditating. And so it's allowing them to give focus. And so this idea that, as we were saying at the beginning, with anxiety and stuff.
Yeah.
I actually think that that energy that you get from coffee or tea or whatever.
Yeah.
Its impact on you and it leading to something like anxiety has so much to do with you and not the coffee.
Totally agree.
It's like, are you able to articulate that energy into something positive or, supportive for you and what you're doing next?
Yeah.
Or are you actually becoming more lost?
Yeah.
And so that's about you being lost in not knowing what to do next, causing anxiety, than necessarily what the caffeine's done to you.
Yeah.
And
100%.
So it's an interesting debate, and I think there's something that coffee could kind of lean into where it's actually a cure for anxiety because it's allowing you to be focused and be in the moment because it's kind of cutting out some of the noise. Whereas I don't necessarily think that's automatically how people associate it because they think jitters and they think anxiety. But if you had a look at yourself and actually said, well, why am I feeling that way? What's making me...
Well, the other thing is what people don't know. There's different types of coffees, different strengths, different flavours.
Yeah.
Just everything, right? You can't, there's a reason why you go to a certain cafe because that's the coffee that you like, but little do you know there's a certain flavour that you particularly like that they'll never tell you because they want you to continue coming to that coffee shop. So, us releasing a coffee that still tastes amazing, decaf, is a really cool piece to start to have a conversation. So, I 100% believe in what you're saying around is what's going on with you about your anxiety.
Yeah. Why is the coffee kicking that off?
Yeah.
Because there was an interesting thing, the European Union or something was trying to get coffee to put the level of caffeine in their coffee per cup, so like at the cafe level, right?
Yeah.
And basically the coffee industry said, yeah, we can't do that because we just don't know, right? So in that 25 grams or whatever of beans, each bean will actually have a different amount of caffeine in it, and you can't guarantee it.
Yeah.
Because the caffeine is started in the soil basically, and there's no way to.
So smell that. And then I'm going to grind it a particular way. You got stuff on your face.
I do.
Yeah. But you're right. So one thing I also wanted to really stress is that there's not a lot of roasters who are good baristas.
Right.
And so I've tried to do both. So sourcing, great. Learning how to roast beautiful beans, but then also learning how to dial them in as well.
Yeah.
That's really important, right?
Yeah.
So I keep a log, and being the UX as we are, I keep data for everything, right? So I write down the day it's been roasted, the profile it's been roasted, because obviously it's just one of our signatures, but from my history, this is perfectly ground. So every bean needs to be ground different way for pour over, right?
Yeah.
So this is a 6.5 on the EK. So I've got 2 grinders here, by the way.
Yeah, I saw them. I'm very jealous.
This one is more of a commercial grinder that's precise, very precise as well, but this takes a lot longer.
Okay.
So if I'm doing
both
more
easy
espresso,
to dial in?
Yeah, very easy. But it's a test and learn.
Yeah.
So I obviously can't remember everything, so I write everything down. So this is a 6.5 grind. And I generally just dose it to get the what else has been in the last cup.
Yeah. So I'm definitely at that stage now where I'm trying to.
It's another one.
Yeah. Trying to. So I've got my profile from a region point of view.
Yeah.
I kind of know what kind of roasts I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I now know the way to make it, which is like either a pour over or a French press. And now with the grinder, I'm sort of tweaking each morning like different ways.
But then you know that there's more to it, right?
Oh,
so then there's how much coffee you put in as well, like weight.
Yep.
Versus grind.
Yep.
That's all the variable as well.
Yeah.
So that's 25 grams in. Mate,
beans are
such a mess.
My dog is always like anything that hits the floor it goes for, and with pour over, it's like a fancy way of making like a drip, old school drip, right? Yeah.
So first of all, you take the paper out of, and you heat up the V60.
Okay.
Pour it out, and then this is where the science comes into play. Cool. So what I do is I put a well in the coffee. So a well, take it to 0, and then it's just measuring speed and weight, so grams. So then, and so this is what you're talking about, that carbonisation just coming off.
Yep.
So I just pour about 90 grams.
Yep.
This is a pro coffee.
Yeah.
So yeah, now smell that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It sort of it changes so much, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now the water's hit at what's being released as opposed to just after the grind and just after the roast. So my brain's going, I'm starting to smell those things that I know I'm going to taste.
Yeah. It's and also so filter water.
Yeah.
And the hotter the water, the better.
Yeah.
So why I need to invest in one of these purely around, obviously it's got a temperature gauge, but you can just hold it at a particular point. So 4 pours at about 90 grams, 90 mils.
Yeah.
Of really hot water. Yeah, now smell that. Oh, and that will, and the fruit will
just keep coming out. Yeah. Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where's that? I'll give you, and so I want it for it to degas as quickly as possible. So I'll give you a couple of bags of that.
Cool.
And you've obviously you've got your own grinder.
Yeah.
What's that grinder like?
It's good. It's quick. It's easy to do it. The handle spins. It's okay to hold.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like anything's falling off. And yeah, it's easy to get the beans in.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, I like it.
Because I know that I've been trying to convert some of the family to doing pour overs. They're like, oh, but I just don't have the patience, or I just don't want to stand there.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, hang on a minute. Have you thought about making good coffee? Mine. Yeah. Being present for 10, 15 minutes in the morning, just like doing your thing, doling it in, being really tactile and tasting. Yeah. Oh, I don't think I've got the time. I'm like, well.
Yeah, what do you have? How much time do you have for yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Before the kids get up and, before you start getting those VC calls.
Yeah.
I think you're going to really like this coffee.
Yeah.
It's got full body. It's when I say full body, it's thick, like a thicker coffee. It's plummy. We want to put this in a can because as a filter, a cold brew or a filter, this is like spectacular, like rock
and
star.
So in terms of storing, making 500 ml or whatever of a nice cup, but I don't want to drink that now.
Yeah.
How do I keep that flavour as good as I can for as long as possible?
Yeah, refrigerated.
Yeah.
It's weird with this coffee because it's a natural. So we're talking about it hasn't gone through a process of a wash or whatever. It's like they depulp it and then dry it.
Yep.
And then the natural piece out of this coffee is all about preserving all the flavour, all the flavour. And so the air in, I'm getting geeky now, but like imagine the location it's at, the air, the heat, what's the environment around it, that all absorbs into the coffee.
That's right. Yeah.
So then when we get it, we put it in these natural coffees. When they get cold, they just feel a bit funky.
Yep.
So this is really funky coffee, right?
Okay.
So refrigerating is best.
Okay.
And what I don't know, because we're experimenting of obviously putting cans, coffee in a can, what I'm experimenting with at the moment is how the life.
Yep.
How long do you put this into a fridge before it goes off?
Yeah.
Without putting any chemicals or any of that crap in it.
Because it was always when I first, remember when cold drips became a thing?
Yeah.
And everywhere had the sand and the...
So, that whole tea?
Oh, yeah.
That tea taste?
Yeah.
So,
that actually, when you said tea, I actually was getting those funky jasmines you get, like the big flowers that open up.
Yep.
Yeah,
so two things. You brew it at about 190 degrees.
Yeah.
And you let it rest. So more air through it. You let it rest, and then you drink it. And the colder it gets, the more flavour comes out of the coffee.
Yeah. Because what I used to do is I used to grab a cup of cold drip.
I'm massive on these. Do you want one of these?
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you want to?
No. Rather that, yeah. But then used to go upstairs and then heat it up because I just didn't like cold coffee.
Yeah.
Which used to really upset the barista.
So then try and get as much air in it as possible. Yeah. And that's James and Barty special. It's going to have a bit of carbonite, like burnt toast on it. But if you cut through that, you'll and it's strong.
Yeah.
It's a good, plummy tasting, beautiful coffee.
Oh, that is nice. Yeah, so that's what I'd start my day with. That kind of hit.
No sugar. No, like what I'm saying is you don't need sugar. There's still the taste that comes out of it, right? I think I over roasted it a bit because I can tell that it will need to degas longer.
Yeah.
Because at the back of your palate now, you can actually taste, there's that depth.
Yeah. Wow. Honestly, that's just so amazing to think. Like I can think back to that, that bean in the bag.
Yeah.
To that one that came out of the roaster and then to now. And it's not like I can't still smell and feel that. But they just change. They sort of step to the background.
Yeah, I love it. Isn't it good?
That's nice.
It's really good, isn't it?
Man.
It's like, it's the bitter, that bitter in the beginning.
Oh, there's nothing there. Yeah.
So I get, in my palate, it's right at the back, like it's just sits there.
Yeah.
That bitter will disappear when
As
it
degasses, right.
And then you'll just taste like this, like floral, I think it's like wine in a cup. Like genuinely, like it's close to like.
I think so.
Yeah.
But obviously wine always has that sort of grape thing, whereas this, it just pulls to the earth. Like
Yeah.
you're always talking about, really earthy flavors.
Because it's a natural.
Yeah.
Organic and natural. Yeah. But yeah, one of my favorite. This is our second profile that we brought out. I bought maybe 160 kilos of this.
Yeah, right.
And the taste doesn't change.
Yeah, right.
It's not a cup everyone will drink because it's so fruity. Well, so rich as a cup. Versus our green Barty, which is like spice and well balanced and a bit of acidity. It's like a milkshake in a cup. This is like another level of a coffee.
Yeah. So to me, this is coffee.
Yeah.
And then anytime I taste anything else, especially when it's not as good, I'm always looking for this, but it's always crowded by, bitterness or just flat, flat flavors. But this is, to me, this plays into the core of coffee.
Yeah.
That.
Let me put them in a bag for you. Just hold that. Have you noticed we've been doing those minis as well?
Yeah, I do prefer the smaller because it does take me a while because I really just do a V60 in the morning.
Yeah.
600 mils, and that's probably the only coffee I'll have for the day.
Oh, here they are. I'll give you one or two. I'll give you one, and then I'll send you the others while they've degassed.
Okay.
Because then you can grind them.
Yeah, I've got my own grinder.
Yeah, take a couple of these. I'll give you two. So that.
And I'll chuck a date on one of them that you reckon's going to be. Don't get into until then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll be interested to. I'll do some tests.
We've also recently got some of these.
Oh, what are they?
You seen this? The new tech for filter at the office. Well,
to have a bag.
Yeah. So
how's this work?
Yeah, grab that.
Open here.
Yeah. So like that.
Yeah. Right. Oh wow.
So you can do a filter at work.
On the cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Fresh coffee.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I'll give you some of these.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good, huh?
Yeah. That's really good coffee.
It's also got caffeine in it.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the plan for today? Thanks for coming by, mate.
It's awesome.
This is Rockstar.
No, it's awesome. Did you say where you're going?
Yeah, what are you up to today?
Just transforming the house. So most of this year sort of been still struggling to kind of find how working from home works, and so there's spaces that have kind of been overcrowded. And we're just about to, like, we've got the study set up, but then everything that was in the study, because we didn't work from home.
No one's going back to the office, are they?
Well, my missus works for New South Wales Government for Justice and Communities, and they've actually mandated. And so
go back?
But not because they need to, they can still do their jobs, but because of the support from a business level, they give to those areas. So she has to go Parramatta 2 days and Ashfield.
Got it.
So they're kind of mandating that, so those business areas that kind of lived off employees. So I can kind of understand that request, but I've got colleagues at places like CBA who are actually saying, no, they're going to ramp back up to normal. And I've got a mate who's off in North Sydney, St Leonard's, who there's a certain profile type of employers who kind of are all back.
Yeah.
So the senior grey suits, they want to be in the office
because they don't know how to.
And then when they can't see the people who they
degas valve.
Oh right.
Sorry.
Yeah, when they can't see the people that they are overseeing, they feel like they aren't getting their value or something.
Or
and so
control.
Yeah. And I mean, the reality for me and Telstra, which has been fantastic, is that, you know, they've always been a disparate workforce. Yeah. And so we haven't lost a beat. We've continued. And I know that from the designers that I've got working with me, we're 100% getting more out of them because they're at their computer, they're present, all their family stuff can get done at the same time. We don't have to lose them for 2 hours a day. Like they can just pop out, grab kids, and they're coming back. And I've seen people online in the morning, and I know I've seen people online at night. Yeah. But you might miss them for a couple of hours because they're off making dinner. And so the value's kind of gone up. But for them personally, they're getting so much more out of their life, I think. So I'm a big proponent now that I've got my world set up of...
Wait, that didn't work. I'm going to have to give you another one.
Oh, it's all right. I won't judge it.
Well, I do, because it has to be perfect.
So yeah, we'll have to see how the year goes.
Especially coffee with a bung ladle. Come on.
That's true.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, what I was about to ask as a bit of a segue. I've moved to Figma completely.
How is it?
That's taken.
Okay.
Oh, gee, working in a remote environment. Yeah. In real time. Yeah. In an application where you can collaborate. I'm not using the word collaborate because everyone uses the word collaborate.
No.
I'm using it by means of you can build prototypes in real life. Yeah. Across an entire team. Yeah. And they can add value, commenting, and you can see everything in real time.
Wow.
Extraordinary.
Okay.
You can build your gel and your system. Yeah. And drag and drop and check in and out. Yeah. It also integrates with Jira, which means you can now connect Jira with tickets and requirements straight into, like, you tag something, there it is, come and see it, play with it, prototype. We're building prototypes, not end flats anymore, that are full sketch level, high fidelity, but prototyping. Yeah. Straight into testing, straight into, stakeholder reviewing.
Yeah, I think we're off the beat there. We've actually just started dialing it back. The sketch and Miro sort of combo kind of gets halfway there. Yeah. But the prototyping just sucks. And so...
Dude, Figma, I'm being a mate and all, go and have a play with it on the weekend. It'll blow your mind away.
Because what we've actually... I don't get my hands on that often, but what the team's actually agreed to, and we've got the skill sets, a lot of them are actually going full stack back to Azure because of the prototyping, because we can do end to end. We're building out design systems, interactions and stuff that are, so high fidelity for user testing, so interactions and micro interactions. But nobody really likes it because it's a hard ask, right?
Yeah, and it's a programming language. I mean, I use Azure or Azure for the beginning of my career because I could code up prototypes, but I know how to code, right?
Yeah.
No,
a lot of designers don't. Yeah. So it's a bit of an ask, but we did have. So this is the burden as well, because you get into a big enterprise where to get something like Figma in, you got to get it through SecOps, and you've got to get all this other stuff because you're putting, intellectual property online. And I remember getting Miro through, and that was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
And we've been pegging away at Figma a few times, but it's actually a small team. And some of the questions that they got asked by SecOps, they just couldn't answer. But they were so keen to work with.
It is. So think of Figma as a Miro. For UXers. And hang on a sec.
It'd be interesting to have another go at it because we looked at it about.
Oh, it's changed
2 years ago.
Yeah, me too. I had a look at it 2 years ago. It's crap. But now it's another level.
Okay.
Like it's game change. It has. I think it will dominate the market in what we do.
Yeah. Right. Awesome.
Based on the fact that we're in a COVID world. And you can't just share sketch files.
No.
And you can't just push out to the sketch cloud and collaborate easily and none of that in real time and change stuff in a meeting. And like that stuff doesn't exist.
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what we've been doing.
Because
good old QR codes made a massive comeback.
I always love them.
I know that. So we put the QR code so you can go straight to our online store.
Awesome.
And I'm going to give you. I do have some cool stuff to report. So I went and spoke to Reach Out this week. Their brand ambassador. And they're
awesome.
They're loving what we're doing. We've got full support to create more of this type of content. Because us dudes find it quite hard to put up our hand and go, hey, I'm going through some stuff. So that's for you.
Awesome.
And what's the one? So series 1's full. Like we've got about 15 people coming on every Saturday. We're doing this.
I'm so glad.
And showing them how to roast. Pair a bit of coffee. Like that's another level of coffee, right?
100%.
Show them how to roast coffee. Have a chat. Again, it's quite raw. Around the fact that it is in my kitchen, but it also makes it quite real around that. Anyone can create this type of content. But for me, it's really trying to give back. I've got a whole bunch of really cool mates like you, and we do some pretty cool stuff out there. But when it comes to our mental health, we don't do much about it. No. I know you swim quite a bit. How's that going?
It stopped because I'm a bit of a
I wonder why. It's a bit cold.
But when I used to go down to Mahan's pool to go for a swim, now I do the same thing, but then just after the swim I used to walk back, so now I just walk back. I go check it out, watch the ocean for a bit, zone out,
get off the internet.
Get off the internet and then walk back in the afternoons.
Can't imagine you and some dick stickers.
No. But
that coffee's just rocked my world.
It's good.
Sorry,
that was a good coffee. I'll definitely be having some Monday morning.
Do you want some more?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind actually. I just didn't want to reach over.
So that's a lot colder now.
That's just nice colour. See, this is where I actually sit. I always get busy in the morning.
Do these.
And I reckon because I brew so much, like I do the 600, there's definitely a 10 or 11 o'clock cup that's about this temperature, maybe a little cooler. that I've only just started in the last couple of weeks appreciating and seeing that different flavour profile, because it's a little bit...
See,
you allow it to sit in your mouth for longer, and yeah.
See, this coffee for me, I can't drink it all the time. I know that you love it because it's got that potent funkiness, and I know that you're into that. But like, that's too deep for me. Like that's a 1 cup. But I like my coffee a lot cleaner. Like the black on black was from Jagerchef, the Ethiopian.
Oh, the black on black was great.
It's a good, beautiful, well balanced, like a coffee.
Yeah.
But this is like another level.
Awesome. Thank you for inviting me over, man. I really enjoyed it.
It's been a real pleasure.
And I come away with coffee, so that's why I brought my bag. So I knew I'd be coming out with coffee. So.
And again, thanks again for coming on.
That's all right.
Probably get you on another session where you can just riff about more of the stuff that's going on with you. But
definitely.
It's been awesome.